Along the threads of the cosmic lattice lie great gatherings of galaxies. Where filaments intersect, the density increases and vast collections form. These are the neighborhoods of the universe, clusters, superclusters, and walls of galaxies spanning unimaginable scales. A galaxy cluster is not a single city of stars, but a metropolis of many. Each galaxy shines with billions of suns, and yet in the company of hundreds of others, it becomes only one light among many. Bound by gravity, these galaxies move in slow orbits around a common center, their paths taking billions of years to complete. The largest clusters hold thousands of galaxies. They are enveloped in halos of dark matter, invisible yet massive, providing the gravitational glue that binds them together. Between the galaxies lies hot plasma, so thin it would seem like a vacuum to human senses, yet glowing faintly in X-ray light. This diffuse gas carries temperatures of millions of degrees, heated by the collisions and motions of galaxies within the cluster. From a distance, the arrangement is striking. Galaxies gather like lanterns hung along invisible strings, knots of light where filaments converge. The overall pattern is not random. It resembles the branching of trees, the distribution of leaves along a stem, the flow of rivers joining into a basin. Each neighborhood is part of a larger structure, linked to others across the cosmic web. One of the most studied clusters is the Coma cluster, located hundreds of millions of light years away. It contains thousands of galaxies, a dense swarm within a region only a few million light years across. Elliptical galaxies dominate its center, massive, featureless giants formed from the mergers of smaller systems. On the outskirts, spiral galaxies still shine, their arms trailing like delicate ribbons. Even larger than clusters are superclusters. These are regions where multiple clusters connect, spanning hundreds of millions of light years. The Virgo Supercluster, in which our own Milky Way resides, contains dozens of clusters and groups. Together, they trace an arc within a greater formation called the Laniakea Supercluster, a structure so vast it redefines the concept of a cosmic neighborhood. Laniakea stretches over 500 million light years. It encompasses more than 100,000 galaxies. From within, it cannot be seen in its entirety, just as a traveler in a city cannot perceive the full map of streets and districts. But surveys reveal its scale, an immense basin of attraction, with galaxies flowing inward along filaments, converging toward a gravitational center. These superclusters, in turn, are not isolated. They form walls, enormous sheets of galaxies that line the edges of voids. One such structure, known as the Sloan Great Wall, spans over 1 billion light years. It is one of the largest single features ever identified, a continent of galaxies stretching across the observable universe. The scale is overwhelming, but the principle remains the same. Galaxies gather, not in random scatter, but in communities, each linked by the web of dark matter. The neighborhoods form patterns, repeating from the small to the vast. Within each cluster, galaxies interact. They collide, merge, and reshape each other. Unlike stars, which rarely collide directly due to the emptiness of space, Galaxies influence each other through gravity, stirring gas, triggering waves of star formation, or stripping material away. These slow interactions, unfolding over billions of years, sculpt the shapes of galaxies and the fates of their stars. The Milky Way itself is part of a small neighborhood called the local group. It contains about 50 galaxies, including the Andromeda Galaxy, our nearest large neighbor, and a collection of dwarf galaxies that orbit like companions around giants. Together, the local group drifts within the Virgo Supercluster, carried along by the currents of the cosmic web. Viewed from afar, the local group is just one speck among many. Its details vanish into the larger architecture of filaments and nodes. Yet it is a reminder that even the grandest structures are built from smaller parts, each neighborhood a vital element of the whole. The study of these neighborhoods reveals not only their shapes, but their motions. Galaxies flow along filaments toward the densest regions, like rivers seeking valleys. Clusters act as basins of attraction, pulling material inward, their gravity bending the trajectories of galaxies over billions of years. The flows converge at nodes, or matter pools and structures grow larger. These motions are not random drift. They trace the underlying geometry of the cosmos, responding to the pull of invisible matter. In this way, neighborhoods are not static. They are alive with movement, changing slowly but relentlessly as the web continues to weave itself. The light from these galaxies carries the history of the web. Some of the photons reaching us tonight began their journey before the Earth existed, before the Sun was born, before the Milky Way had formed its spiral arms. They traveled through clusters and voids, past gravitational wells and filaments, bent slightly at each encounter. By the time they arrive, they carry imprints of the neighborhoods they crossed, subtle distortions that tell astronomers of the structures in their path. Through these imprints, the neighborhoods are mapped, their shapes revealed not only in the visible glow of galaxies, but in the invisible tug of gravity on light itself. The picture is one of endless scale, clusters upon clusters, superclusters forming walls, walls outlining voids, all strung together on the vast skeleton of the cosmos. To contemplate these neighborhoods is to recognize the balance between emptiness and fullness. Each void defines the cluster beside it. Each cluster sharpens the contrast with the emptiness surrounding it. Together, they form the architecture of the universe, a geometry that repeats across scales too vast for direct experience, but clear in the patterns traced by light. These neighborhoods are not final. Over cosmic time, clusters will merge, superclusters will grow denser, and the web itself will stretch as the universe expands. But the pattern will endure. Filaments feeding clusters, clusters feeding superclusters, the lattice binding it all together. Galactic neighborhoods are the cities of the universe, each filled with billions of suns, yet only part of a larger network woven across the silent dark. They are the luminous threads in the hidden geometry of the cosmos,